Greetings, angels, demons, and Nephilim alike. This is Arendelle doing a bit of lore seeking in Diablo 3. Well, just a bit of lore altogether. I was reminiscing on the last expansion of Diablo 3. That, of course, being Reaper of Souls. And as I was thinking about it, I thought it was awful, the campaign. Gameplay-wise, it enhanced the game. Lore-wise, it was horrifying. So, I thought that the writing was terrible. That honestly, the script, whatever they threw out there, the writers, they just had a complete brain meltdown, just started throwing some crap out there. I don't know if they were rushed. I don't kind of actually really give a frag. All I know is that it was awful, and I could barely wrap my head around why, considering that Diablo 3, the original, was actually pretty good story-wise. Had some holes in it, but all around, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I really, think it's stupid that in order to try and make a name for themselves, they do something that a lot of people are doing. They kill off one of the singular main characters from all of Diablo in their first part of it. Before you even get the first act, they killed off Cain. That I hated. But getting back to Reaper of Souls, just wanted to touch on a few things. Put that down. So, the character, the villain, the old aspect of wisdom, Malthael, or however you pronounce it, who then became the Angel of Death, very original of them. He, at some point, went mad. He goes insane, bonkers, whatever you want to call it. Just not all the lights are on upstairs. And, of course, he then goes on his spree of killing humans, stealing the Black Soul Stone, wanting to wipe humans out first before he moves on to the demons, because he even refers to at one point the demons are easy prey. They haven't been able to wipe them out before then. Honestly. It has been the eternal conflict for a reason. But, assumedly, he could use the Black Soul Stone to end said conflict. So, maybe that's why he referred to the demons as easy prey. Plus, the guy was invincible because he was imbued with the power of death, and only someone else imbued with the power of death could harm him. Well, Malthael being Malthael, decides that he doesn't really need to face the Nephilim. He lets them garner power, get stronger, kill off his minions, and slowly make their way to him. Attempts to send some minions to stop them at heaven, fails in that. They get into pandemonium, and he lets them go all the way up into his fortress, sending just more and more waves of his minions at them until they get imbued with the power of death, which apparently they could only get in the pandemonium fortress. I'm like, holy frag, why'd you let them get in? And then they got in there and they killed him, and yeah, he was surprised, like, oh, you're imbued to the power of death. I'll destroy the Black Soul Stone and absorb the power. Yeah. So, apparently, as well as being mad, he was a moron. A fragging moron. Anyone could have seen that coming. You let them do that whole time. And you allow them to then get into your fortress, get imbued with the power of death. What, you didn't see that coming? You didn't see them being able to get in and figure that out? And plus how easily they got into the Pandemonium Fortress. Just by... If that ram had been at the gates for so long, and 3 demons with 3 room keys or whatever were all that were needed, even if they were time locked, it's not like the other demons couldn't see them and be like, hey, let's get them out of there so we can get the freaking keys together, power up the ram, break in, and poof, well, there goes the Pandemonium Fortress. What? Just long story short, there were so many holes, so many flaws. It was pretty ugly. And so in my head, I put a few things together and figured, hey, how would I have done it? Well, I want to go over a few things first that they put into the lore that are actually usable for the direction that I would want to go. Let's go somewhere a little bit more quiet. You know what? Let's just go straight to Tristram. Oh, I hate the map system. I love the old Diablo II way that they had it, which is what they originally had it, with the just the lists. This whole map, I hate it. And whoever made that decision, you are, in my opinion, an idiot. Because this just complicates things. I have to look around for where to go instead of just having a list and being able to click. At least give us an option for picking. Anyways. Alright. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a listen.
They call me a hero. I slew demons beyond count. I won battles and broke sieges, but it availed me nothing. I know that this war can have no victor, only an eternity of revenge, pride, and hatred. Tyrael does not understand. He cannot see beyond the glory of battle. In time he may, but that day is not yet here.
Alright, then we're gonna go over here. Lilith.
My father is content to fight the same battles and the same foes while everything turns to ashes. Though his victories might last a day, or a year, or 100 years, the war will never be won so long as he and his brothers lead. There is an end to it, but fools like my father are too blind to see it.
Well, surprise, surprise there.
There must be others who seek a way out of the endless strife. Angels and demons who feel enslaved by our fate. I cannot be unique in all of creation. I know my path. I will find those disillusioned of the war and lead them.
I took a prisoner in the battle, an angel whose light was dimming. I brought him to my lair for my amusement, but he surprised me. My touch seemed to breathe life into him. He raved like a madman about how he wished to escape the war. Perhaps I have found someone I can use.
How very demonic of her.
I was struck down in the third charge. I lay upon the ground, only to wake in chains. I did not know that demons took prisoners. I babbled like a fool about my dreams of escaping this war. My captor freed me and said that we would meet again. Her name was Lilith, daughter of Mephisto.
The angel I captured, Inarius, is in love with me. I can feel the intensity of his desire. I told him that we must liberate the World Stone, and then we can be together. We will create something never imagined by those mired in the eternal conflict. A new world.
Lilith is me, but a fire and flame. I could never have felt this way about a demon while I was mired in the endless war. The strain holds us prisoner to what we've been told to believe. She and I have made plans. We will bring others to our cause, and together we will escape.
Okay.
Inarius and I stole the World Stone, and now we have a group of renegades to follow us. I have created a new world where we can live in peace. A place of infinite possibilities. Inarius believes that escape is enough. In time, I will show him that even victory is possible. But first, I will give him children.
Okay.
Those who follow us are strong in purpose and conviction, but we are only few. Yet if we can obtain the power of the World Stone, it will be enough. We will scale the wind-sheer slope, steal into the heart of the fortress, and be gone before anyone notices the stone's disappearance.
Yes, okay. 6.
Can I truly love a demon? When I gave the World Stone to Lilith, I knew I'd been right to seek her all along. We have created a new world. We can live here in peace, away from war. I have named this world Sanctuary. When I see Lilith sleeping at my side, I'm filled with dark thoughts. My sins are real, and I will surely pay for them. We live in peace for now, but it cannot last. They will come for me. But what of my great deeds? When I'm in torment, who will celebrate those? Who will remember Inarius?
Few. Very, very few. Alright. World. Okay.
I knew Inarius long ago, when he was still among the angels. But he grew weary of battling the demons after a time, and he began to secretly conspire with demons in order to forge a peace. The demoness Lilith became his greatest ally in the Hells, and many other demons and angels joined his cause. After he gained a following, Inarius stole the sacred World Stone and used it to create and conceal a world he called Sanctuary. Demons and angels alike fled there, and some of them, including Inarius and Lilith, fell in love. Many of these unions resulted in children. They were called the Nephilim. Inarius was alarmed when he realized that the Nephilim had the potential to surpass both angels and demons in power. He wished to limit their abilities, but Lilith demanded that they become her army. Their escalating conflict led to Sanctuary's discovery by the Demon Lords and the Angiris Council.
And finally...
In the end, Lilith was banished, and Inarius was given over to the demons, who have tortured him in the Hells ever since. Most of Inarius's followers were killed. Those who remained shared an even darker fate. Despite the tragedy, I believe the Nephilim may yet play a part in resolving the eternal conflict.
Darker fate. Huh. What darker fate might that have been? Curious. And then, of course, there was the war on the Nephilim that, from what I know, Lilith waged. When the World Stone was changed, weakening the Nephilim, and their children were being born weak, Lilith said, bring your children to me and, I'll, I guess, fix them. And when they did give their children over to her, well, that's when she turned them into monsters and sent them against the Nephilim. So she waged war on the Nephilim and, in the end, was responsible for their downfall. Like, those who were truly powerful among the Nephilim were destroyed because of her, and the rest just became humans, I guess, instead of Nephilim. So that's how that whole gig turned out. Now, what I would have done with that is, starting from square one, when this whole gig starts, and Malthael steals the Black Soul Stone, the Nephilim find out what's going on, and they come, and they seek to, you know, stop Malthael. Fact is, Malthael, knowing how powerful the Nephilim are, knowing they'll stop at nothing, I mean, that's the whole reason why he targeted them. You know, that was the whole reason why he stole the Black Soul Stone, to wipe them out. He understood the threat. He wasn't stupid. They just wrote him that way. So, being invulnerable and knowing his minions can't do the job, he would have, at some point, either gone to the Nephilim to fight them or trapped them and fought them. But he personally would have fought them, being, you know, invulnerable to them, before they had the chance to get to the Pandemonium Fortress and become imbued with death as well, to be able to fight him. So, at some point, that would have happened. And during that conflict, that battle, there would have come a point where the Nephilim realized, hey, we can't win this. Whether it would have been drawn out to pretty much a draw, or Malthael drives them back, or whatever, but they can't harm him. So one way or the other, you know, what could they do? So then they're driven back, you know, that's pretty much how I would say it. You know, they barely get away with their lives, things like that, badly wounded, etc. And they realize we cannot go straight at him. We cannot do what we typically do, you know, charge down the center. We know he's holed up in Pandemonium, in the Pandemonium Fortress, which the demons have been trying to break into for who knows how long. And within that place, you know, at some point they find out that once they get in there, they can get imbued with the power of death so that they can harm him.
The hero of prophecy would be more lively.
Shush it. Oh. But, yeah, that whole gig would be what they'd be dealing with. So, they would need to be able to get in there at some point. But there wouldn't be some magical ram already in place that would then, you know, just give them what they needed. So, in the end, they would have to let's see. They basically have to find some way of, you know, getting into the Pandemonium Fortress. So, what I'm thinking is that they would end up maybe searching out Lilith. Reason for that, Lilith wasn't tortured or anything. She wasn't banished to hell. She is still, you know, around somewhere. She's just banished. So they go on a quest to end up finding her, and, you know, let's say, you know, they find her at some point. And honestly, I don't think, you know, once they bent their minds to it and they got into Cain's, you know, I'm pretty sure Cain of all people would have had something that would have given them a hint to be able to find Lilith. Well, long story short, they find Lilith, and they say, hey, we need to get into the Pandemonium Fortress. So a really simple thing that she could do is be like, well, sorry, can't help you. I wasn't in charge of that. I don't know how to get in. However, Inarius does. Well, fragging fantastic. Inarius is literally in hell. So, at that point, Lilith says, free Inarius, and he'll tell you. And then return Inarius like me. Let's say that, you know, she's interested in having Inarius returned to her. You know, she's a demon and all that, but she's in exile. She's equivalently rather alone. So she would likely, you know, want to have someone with her who, I don't know, just company, etc. So let's say that she had an idea of where in hell Inarius was. So she gives them, you know, go this way, or go here, opens a portal up, etc. So then they basically go into hell. And for goodness sakes, they've practically gone there several times, the Nephilim. So it's not like it's even that big of a leap. So they go to hell. And they find Inarius, who by this point has been tortured for, well, nigh on an eternity. He's been driven to the point of sheer insanity. And yeah, he's kind of out there. Well, they end up bringing him to Lilith, who helps coax some sanity back into him. And at that point, either Lilith was lying and she did know how to get into the Pandemonium Fortress, or she manages to coax enough sanity into Inarius for him to be able to actually give them the information they need. And tells them the secret of how he got into the Pandemonium Fortress, in and out. And so they go and they steal away into the Pandemonium Fortress. They imbue themselves with the power of death. And at this point, you know, they then seek to hunt down Malthael, because they can now go with their primary tactic again, charging down the center. And as Malthael, you know, they come charging in, and Malthael doesn't, you know, he knows somehow they got snuck in, but he doesn't realize yet that they've been imbued with the power of death. You know, they come in, they're attacking him, and, you know, in pretty short order, he realizes. Then he can go about, you know, consuming the Black Soul Stone, the whole gig that happens, and fighting with them, and getting killed, of course. And then all the demon lords that were trapped within the Black Soul Stone, poof, get released, including Diablo. But then we have that nasty treat of Mephisto, and Dariel, Duriel, Baal. I mean, that whole gig. All of them release. Not to mention anyone else who might have been trapped in there. Leah! Sorry. Did I say something? Well, long story short, that would have been a synopsis of how I would have done it. And honestly, you put some meat on the bones of that, and a whole lot better story than what they did. I mean, Malthael acted like a complete moron, which I couldn't ever wrap my head around. I mean, he obviously wasn't an idiot. I mean, he was only mad, not stupid, but they acted like he was stupid. And at the very end, all of a sudden, Tyrael observes the Nephilim and goes, there's darkness at their hearts, and they can choose to do evil. Well, yeah, they've always had the option of doing evil. That's always been there. Why haven't you introduced that before, huh? Since you're such a big gig on that. Why is that suddenly just being introduced all the way at the end? I mean, what inspired that? Did they get introduced to some sort of horrible darkness? I mean, they've gone through who knows how many traumatizing events. I mean, really, what? You just suddenly just threw that in there. You didn't have anything leading up to it. No darkness building up within them wanting to commit evil acts. You just randomly decided to freestyle it in with no build-up, with no nothing. It was just suddenly there. Why? Well, long story short, that didn't make any sense to me. How they just freestyled that in there. I mean, it's a cool concept. You know, being able to choose good and evil. You know, like it is in real life. Are there being consequences to both? But I just require some actual explanation, some backstory. And that had zero. Grand total of zip. Reaper of Souls was full of so many holes. But, hey, at least it improved gameplay. But, still. The original D3, Diablo 3, was pretty good. Hate how they killed Cain off so quickly. But, hey, they were looking to make a name for themselves. And then they had the character of Leah. And voila, they kill her off too. So, but at least they created her. So they just killed off one of their own characters. Still, I mean, it doesn't quite make it clear if she's dead or if she's in there with Diablo and that soul stone. You know, the horror that would be. It doesn't really say what happens to her. But I figure, all things considered, that she's not dead. And I mean, Reaper Souls, one of the things I was literally looking most forward to in Reaper of Souls was hearing about Leah, because I figured that would come up. But nope. Never did. I was beyond disappointed with that. So, oh well. We'll see if things ever go anywhere, if they ever do anything else with Diablo 3, if it has any kind of real future, or if they've literally just decided, hey, we made Diablo 3 and a single expansion, we're done. Of course, we've all been hearing rumors that they're either working on another expansion, another game, you know, straight up game, or they're working on a remake of Diablo 2. Diablo 2 was a masterpiece, gameplay and storyline wise. So as long as they don't screw it up and turn it into the gameplay system of Diablo 3, I would be completely okay with that. But thing is, if they do remaster Diablo 2 perfectly, like they just give it better graphics, they give it the enhancements of the multiplayer system and all that, whole 9 yards, but don't actually interfere with its gameplay, you know, change the way the abilities work and everything, I think that would probably be one of the final nails in the coffin of Diablo 3. Because while Diablo 3 has gained its own unique following, you know, it's its own game. Diablo 2 by far was the better one, in my opinion. But in any case, yeah. Well, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, feel free to give it a thumbs down. If you really like this kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe. But in any case, don't get into too much trouble, or do. It's always up to you. Toodles!